All right, ETM Hotep. That means welcome and peace. And Reni Wujao Menib Erimaat. My name is Wujao. This is your brother Wujao. And welcome to our Seshu Mani Meru Nature YouTube channel. And tonight, as I mentioned last night in the previous video, that I was going to do a video in relation to what's called a Portmanteau Morphs. All right, I had touched on it very briefly at the end of the previous video, and let everyone know that I plan on doing this video tonight. So here we are, and again, I appreciate anyone who is tuned in live and is watching this as I'm sharing this information, and those who will be watching it as an archive, appreciate you as well. All right, so dua for that, and hopefully you all can share this link, share the video, either now or later. And make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And make sure you click the bell to be notified when we go live. As anybody who knows me, I tend to go live out the blue, what looks like it's out the blue, but a lot of times when I go live, it'll be inspired by conversations in social media or what have you. All right. I like to take issues and topics to turn them into teaching moments to further elaborate and explain different issues to help people out. All right. And this is really no different. In the previous video that I did on grammatical gender. So tonight I want to talk about morph and morphemes, but in more specifically what's referred to as Portmanteau Morphs. And, you know, that may be unfamiliar to a lot of people. And I'm going to try to make this brief and to the point as possible. But at the same time, I don't want to miss out on anything to cause confusion. All right. So I'm going to jump straight into it. Let me just get my cursor here. All right. So first of all, I definitely want to remind everyone to make sure that you check out our websites. And as you can see on the screen, the one on the right, seshmedunature.com. That's the home of the Seshu Mani Meru Nature. And on that site, we have we share a lot of information, different topics. We have blog articles covering a wide range of topics, and a lot of resources there as well. So we have a library there. You could actually become a member of the website and help support and receive membership benefits of different resources and things that are very useful in the study of ancient Ranykemet or Kemetic culture and languages. All right. And then Sable University is the website where we host our study courses, and it's in its infancy stage, but it's not just about Egypt or Kemet, etc. It's made for a wide range of topics and things being taught, lessons, short, long, whole study courses, you name it. But as of now, if you're interested in learning the language, we have our courses there, beginner's level and a more advanced level dealing with grammar. The beginner's level is giving you all the foundation tools needed in order to allow you to lay a nice solid foundation to build upon. All right. Okay, so tonight's topic is Portmanteau Morphs. All right, now that may be two strange terms to a lot of us, who are not dealing with linguistics and things like that. All right, and that's understood. So the first thing I always like to do is to define our terms. So what is a Portmanteau Morph? And to keep it very, very short and very simple, it's simply the combining of two or more morphemes into one morph. All right, so now that kind of begs the question, well, what is a morpheme? All right, and the definition of morpheme, a morpheme is the smallest unit of a word that has meaning, smallest meaningful unit of words. All right. And so to explain that, I'm just going to demonstrate. All right. So I'm going to use these two words in English. We have teachers on the left, and we have smaller on the right. All right. Now, beneath it, you see the word teachers is broken down into 3 elements, and the word smaller is broken up into 2 elements. These individual elements are referred to as morphs. All right. So the word teachers has 3 elements that makes it up. So we have teach, which is a verb. It's something that you can do. Then we have another element, an ER suffix, and then we have an S suffix. All right, and all 3 of those together is the word teachers. So this will be considered morphs. So 1, 2, 3. These are considered 3 morphs of the word teachers. Now, what you see beneath the line here is what's referred to as morphemes. And morphemes are the abstract principles that underlie the words. So the morphs here are what's considered the concrete realizations. And that's a fancy way of saying the morphs is actually what we see or what we hear if we were to just say this without writing it down or typing it. All right, so morphs, remember this, morphs are the concrete realizations. These are the things that you see and you hear. Morphemes are the abstract concepts that underlie the morphs. Okay, so this is an example to explain that. So in the word teachers, we have 3 morphs, but we also have 3 morphemes. So again, we have the verb teach. This ER here is what's referred to as an agentive morpheme, which simply means that it turns the verb into an agent. So this is an agent morpheme. So in other words, what this morpheme means is one who does. So it's the agent of the verb. So teach is a verb, it's an action, it's something that you can do. The ER turns it into a noun by saying one who does the verb. In this case, one who teaches. So what is a teacher? A teacher is one who teaches. So this ER is responsible for changing the verb into a noun. The S on here on the end, the last or the third element, is a morpheme of plurality. So we simply say plural. Now, some words, the plural morpheme, just to let you know the difference between a morph and a morpheme. Some words, the plural morpheme, which is the abstract underneath, may be realized as an S on some words, and other words it may be realized as an ES. You know, there's words that end in ES to show plural. For example, the word dress, like a woman's dress. If I wanted to refer to more than one, I would have to say dresses. DRESSES, dresses. The ES in that instance would be the plural morpheme. Okay, so I just want to give you an idea, and again, I want to keep this as simple as I possibly can. And this is not meant to be an exhaustive study course or lesson. All right, I want to keep it plain, keep it very simple and easy to follow. All right, so now if I move over here, now let me actually put that up here on the screen. I like to make sure all the visuals are there. So if I say dresses, it would be dress, and then we would have the ES there. Okay, just to kind of complete this for you all. And this would be the layout for this particular word. So we have dresses, so we have a dress singular, and then the ES is the plural ending. So it represent the lexical root, dress, and then we have the plural. It manifests or it's realized as an ES, as opposed to on teachers, it just manifests as an S. Now, both of these morphemes are the exact same. It's plural. It's that simple. But what you see or what you hear may be slightly different. And that's the morph. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. And mind you, if you have any questions while I'm talking, hold on to your questions. And once I'm done sharing this information, I'll check out the chat and try my best to answer any questions. All right, but I do want to keep this video as short as possible. So now we move over to the word smaller. So now we have a word smaller. It's broken up into two morphs, small, and then we have ER as a suffix. So now on the morpheme level, we have the lexical root small, again, which is an adjective. It can describe something. But then this ER here is what's called the comparative morpheme. So not only is something small, now we're giving it a degree of smallness. It's smaller. And another further degree that I don't have on the screen would be smallest, like the smallest person or the smallest shirt. All right. And that's called a superlative. But the point I am stressing here is that although we see an ER in both words, teachers and smaller, ER, the word smaller has a morph, ER as a suffix. The word teachers has a ER as a suffix. But these morphs are completely different. They're not the same. This ER, although it looks alike and it sounds alike, because if I take the S off of teachers and just say teacher and say smaller, they sound alike, They look alike, ER. They're spelled alike, ER. But they're completely different morphemes. One is called the agentive and the other one is called the comparative. This particular morph on the side of teachers is what's called a derivational morpheme. It changed the word from one word class, which is a verb, and made it a noun. All right. In this instance, this ER is not a derivational morpheme. Small is an adjective and smaller is an adjective as well. So this is a completely different morph. All right. So I just want everybody to understand. So that is what the difference between a morph and a morpheme is and why it's important to understand this. Okay. So now, here are some more examples just to quickly drive the point home about morphs and morphemes. So here's the word. Let's start with the middle. Here's the word players. Again, this is just like teachers. Play is a verb. It's an action. It's something that you can do. But the ER turns it into a noun. It is, again, the agentive morpheme. Player, one who plays. And then we have the plural suffix again. Now, this is interesting. On the left, we have the word teeth. Teeth is the word, but the morphemes that make it up are two. So teeth is one morph, but it's made up of two morphemes. We have the word tooth and then plural. What's interesting about this one is that the plural is not represented by an S at all. S or ES. Instead, this plural, it surfaces or it's realized by the changing of the vowels inside the word. Okay? So that's a different situation. But the point stressed here, and I don't want, like I said, I want to keep this short, so I don't want to go too far into explanations. But the point here is that we have one morph, but we have two morphemes. Tooth and plural. Over here in geese, the same thing. Geese is more than one goose. So we have the root, goose, and then plural. Notice there's no S on here either. Same thing, a changing of the vowels. Deer, now what's interesting about deer is that deer in the plural and deer in the singular, plural is on the right and singular is on the left, they're alike. They're exactly alike. If I want to point to one deer, or if I want to point to a group of deer, I still use the word deer. So the singular deer has two morphs, one morph, but two morphemes. Deer in the singular, deer, and then the singular. And then we have, in the plural, we have deer and the plural. Okay, so this is what I'm demonstrating is called morphological analysis when it comes to the morphs, and then morphemic analysis when it comes to the morphemes. So it's morphological analysis versus morphemic analysis. All right, that's what I'm actually demonstrating here. So now we come back full circle back to a Portmanteau morph. So what is it again? So let's redefine it again. It is the combining of two or more morphemes into one morph. So notice how we have all of these morphemes, and what that's saying is that it's going to be a combination of some morphemes into a single morph. All right. So how does that work and how does that look? All right. So now I'm going to show you an English example, perfect example in English that we use all the time, but we just may not realize that that's what it is. So we're going to take the pronoun she. That's a word that we use all the time. She, he, it, they, etc. She. It contains only one morph. She. Now the morphemes that it has that makes it up is 3 in number. She represents third person, which is the person or things that are being talked about. You know, we got first person is the speaker, the second person is the listener, and third person is everything else that's not a part of the conversation. So when I say she went to the store, I'm talking to someone about someone else. Therefore, we call it third person. So she represents the third person. She is also feminine, and she is also singular. So third person, feminine, and singular are all wrapped up into this one word, this one morph. And this is a single morph, she. This is referred to as a Portmanteau morph. All right. So now you all have the definition and a demonstration as an example of what a Portmanteau morph is. So hopefully that's clear. All right. And again, if you all have any questions, I'm going to check out the comments in one hot second. So I have 2 more examples to give. So now we're going to move from English and we're going to move over into Ranykemet, or ancient Egyptian, because I'm going to show you exactly how this works. So what we have on the screen is the analysis of a word. This particular word is a single word. These glyphs here, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 glyphs spell one word. And the way we pronounce this word is Sejemenef. Okay, and the word means he heard. So although it's one word in Ranykemet, when it's translated, we have to translate it into 2 English words. He heard. Okay, so what is the morphemic analysis of this particular word? So this is what you see at the bottom here. So the word sejem means to hear. That's what you see, these first 2 glyphs. The ear and the owl together spells the word sejem, and it means to hear. The water ripple that you see here is a suffix added onto the word that denotes past tense. So we have past right here as a morpheme. Okay, the N represents past tense. Now this final glyph, this horn viper, that's known as a horn viper, this final glyph, we transliterate it as an F, but it actually contains 3 morphemes. What are those 3 morphemes? It's third person, it's masculine, and it's singular. Third person, masculine, singular, which is he. Now in the English, remember I gave you third person feminine singular, which is she. So in Ranykemet, I am showing you an example with he. And it's represented by this one glyph here. So this one glyph is expressing 3 different features, grammatical features. Third person, masculine, and singular, all at the same time. And again, that is what's called a Portmanteau morph, the combining of 2 or more morphemes into one morph. And that's exactly what we have here. All right. So hopefully everyone is following and is very clear. Now I have one more example to give, and it is with this particular word, which as of late has, received a lot of controversy. This is the word Kemet. This is the name of our beloved ancient civilization in the Nile Valley in East Africa, that we refer to as Kemet. That's today is the country of the Arab Republic of Egypt. All right. So this is the place name Kemet. So how do we analyze this word? We're going to break it down into its morphemes. So we have the root kem, and it means riparian or wetness. All right. Then, and this is the first 2 glyphs here. Okay. The first 2 glyphs is kem. This third glyph, which is a raised bread loaf, the third glyph is transliterated as a T. This is the T that you see here. Now, what most people have been doing on this particular topic, they focus on the T, but they're only focusing on one of its morphemes. And they are not aware of the fact that it is a Portmanteau morph containing multiple morphemes. So what are they? Well, one is a morpheme of abstraction for places, because this is a place name. Then there's a morpheme of singular, and then feminine. And so what people have been focusing on is feminine, 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 but they're completely ignoring or missing the abstract morpheme and the singular morpheme. All 3 of these morphemes are in that one singular morph, the raised bread loaf that we transliterate as a T. Just like the one before, all 3 of these morphemes is in this one glyph here, horn viper. All 3 of these morphemes is in this one glyph here, raised bread loaf. And then this particular last glyph here is what we call a classifier or a determinative that helps put the word into a class of other words that are part of a category. And this is a toponymic determinative or classifier, letting us know that it is a place. All right. So that's all I had for this lesson. And again, I want to keep it short, and I just wanted to share with you all what a Portmanteau morpheme is. And the purpose is, the goal is to educate people on some of the nomenclature used in linguistics, how the language works, and to give a little bit more insight so that people are not confused when you run into arguments or debates that may take place on social media with people who may or may not even know this information, who may or may not have studied the language, its grammar, and so on and so forth. All right. So again, if you're interested in learning more about this, you can sign up, register, enroll in any of our classes. We have ongoing classes. They're ongoing. You can sign up at any time. All right. And and you'll learn about all this and more. So in this video, I'm being very, very brief, but there's a lot more to this that could be said. All right. Lastly, I can't end without also letting you all know that, of course, it's the holiday season. Whether you celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, or you just celebrate the fact that it's winter, there's a holiday discount, 20% off at Heka Apparel. So make sure you check it out. Pick up something for yourself, your family, or friends, what have you. All right. Make sure you check out and support Heka Apparel. And if you have any questions that I don't get a chance to answer in a few seconds, then make sure you join our Facebook group, Seshu Mani Metanecher. All right. That's the name. That's how it's spelled. You can search for it. We're easy to find. Make sure you join the group, and you can ask questions. You could see all the information that we have. We have, you know, we're very active. We share information all the time. All right. So now I'm going to turn to the comments. And so if you had a question before, make sure you type it in now. I know there's a slight delay, but retype your questions now, and I'll take a moment to address a few of them. All right. So let's see and again, I definitely appreciate anyone who's tuned in right now live. I would do a roll call and shout out, but that will make the video even longer. So in general, you know, dua to everybody. All right. So let me see. Let me scroll up first. I see that there are maybe some questions already asked. Okay, let's see what we have here. Yeah, just hotep to everybody, you know, and make sure you share this, you know, even though I've finished sharing now, but share this video for people who you feel that should know this or may be interested in this. Okay, Chavis, man, he make this so simple. Great teaching. Yeah, do I? Well, you know, I try my best to do that. And I've been teaching for just about 8 years now. I could say beginning of this year coming, I say 8 years, but over 7 years. And but that's with just this information. But I've been teaching for a lot longer, you know, on some capacity. You know, my background is in computer science, network administration, and engineering. So I've been teaching for quite a while, and so in every environment where I find myself teaching, along the way, I've learned to, you know, I've learned to be empathetic and put myself in other people's shoes in order to adjust the way I share information and how I do it and everything, so that, you know, to be as effective as possible. So, you know, I'm always trying to make sure that that's what's going on. All right, so let's see. Anybody else? Jolanda says, after 3 more examples, I'll be good. All right, so just real quick. Well, let me just keep these examples up here. This is just to show you again the difference between morphs and morphemes. All right. And like I said, I don't want to go too far into it, but this should be enough here. The difference. All right. Okay. 42 Tribes asks or says, people don't understand why a place would be feminine. Well, remember, look, make sure you check out the previous video about grammatical gender. All right. So make sure you watch that, and you'll see about the gender. Okay, Chavez says, what about the ing morph? How would that look? That's the same. So I'll go ahead and draw that. I'll go ahead and do that. So let's take this here, players, and we'll just use this as an example. So I'll put it down here. So if I say playing, now we have 2 morphs again. We have play, which is a verb. To play, it's an action that you can do. Then we have an ing morph. So we have 2 morphs again. And then on the morpheme level, we have play and then we have present. And that's what it is. So now we have the ing morpheme in this sense is the morpheme of present, like tense. It's a value of tense on the verb. So if I were to, just as another example, let me move this over. And we'll do this again. Duplicate that, and instead now we'll have, let's change it to played. So now this ed morph is now the morpheme of past tense. So we have the verb play and then the morpheme of past. Now what's interesting is that the past morpheme is manifested in multiple ways on different words as well. So on this word it's ed. On some words it's a t. Okay, just like I said s in let's go back to this one. In teachers, the plural manifests as just a s, but on dresses it manifests as es. But the morpheme is the same. So we're dealing with the same thing, the same exact thing. It just looks different, sounds different. So likewise on played, if I show another example of a word, the past tense will be the same, but it may manifest differently, a t on some words. Okay, like for example, burnt, and I'll put it up here. Let's go ahead and put it up here. Hopefully y'all can see it. Let me slide all of these over just real quick because I want to make this plain as possible. I don't want any excuses. All right. Okay, so the morphs that we see is burn and then t. So now as the root we have burn, which is a verb. Then we have past, the past tense. But the past tense in this word is manifested as a t. This exact same morpheme. Now mind you, this morpheme and this morpheme is the exact same morpheme, but it manifests as an ed on played, and it manifests as a t on the word burnt. Okay, so hopefully that's easy to follow. All right, now if you all understand this, just give me some kind of signal. Type in 1 that you understand this. All right, I want to make sure I'm doing my job. So type in 1 if you follow along with this. So in other words, these are the exact morphemes, but they manifest or realized. In linguistics, we say that it's realization of the morpheme. So it's realized different. It's pronounced different. It is spelled different, but it is actually the same morpheme. We don't say burned, burnt. So, just as an example. Now, with this particular one, some people will try to argue about burned versus burnt because of the way, over time, the way that words are used, that burned sounds normal as well as burnt. They sound equally normal. But as far as my example, I just pulled this one out of my head. All right, as an example, just to let you know that this T or this past tense can manifest differently. Okay, that's the purpose. All right, so let me turn to these questions real quick because again, I want to make these videos long. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's see. Anything else? Okay, everybody pushing 1. Okay, so listen, I've done my job here. All right. So again, I want to keep this short, keep it nice and sweet, and close out. So I hope everyone learned something tonight. And if you already knew this, then that's even better. But make sure you share it, spread the word, because it will help. It'll help in these conversations, especially when things come up. At least with the recent discussion about Kemet. All right, you hear about this feminine T. So go back to the gender video, the previous video, and then watch this one, and you're gonna see it's gonna start making sense. And you'll be able to tell yourself when people share information, you could tell who knows what, who knows what they're talking about. All right. So with that, I'll wrap it up, and please don't forget to visit the websites, check it out. Also, it's the holiday season. Make sure you check out Hicka Apparel, and make sure that you join our Facebook group if you're not already a member in there. All right. So with that, I will check out. And again, dua for your time, and I'll say Shemem Hotep.